Hello there. Hello. Love, 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 love. The topic is love. LOVE. Looking for love in all the wrong places. So in this series, in this time of, in this case, Advent, it's critical and vital to look at what love is, what we have made it mean, what we do with it. And it's so critical during this sacred season to pause and reflect on this. Like my definition of love, for example, was established when I was 3 years old. And my first experience of love was between me and my granddaddy, my grandfather, Henry, and very stocky and bald and all the way back, and absolute delight because he played with me. He played with me. I had fun with him, and sometimes it was the only fun that was going on in that house was what we were able to do together, to hide and seek. And we was farmers, so I got to go with gather up the cow. I actually got to ride on the cows when it came back into the barn, and then to bring in the corn and shuck the corn and take the corn off the cob and all sorts of things. So whatever he was into, I got into. So how would you define love? What is your earliest experience of love? So whatever that is, I want to uplift it today, that we have a renewed sense of that, and that as we go through this very sacred and holy season that we're in, higher, holier season, as we pause and reflect on what the light that comes into the world as the essence of love, not as an emotion, not just an emotion or a fleeting feeling, but a powerful action, a powerful presence, a calming action, and a calling that's a love that's calling us toward it. Also, love that's calling us through, impulsing us, directing us even. And one that represents a vital part of our integrity and the way that we illumine, the way we illuminate, and what's coming through our eyes, and then what we're able to then to illuminate into the world through our eyes and through our ways of being. That is love energy. So it's the cornerstone of spiritual process and of spiritual beingness, the light of our soul, the light of our spirit, and absolutely sparking others, those around us, through inspiration, through transformation, through healing, through caring, through comfort, through prayers, for reaching out, for belonging, in every way known under the sun. So, in this time of Advent, we prepare ourselves devotionally to an incoming and expanding Christ consciousness, and awakening the love within us and through us is a vital part of the process. So, as we refer to scripture in Matthew, Jesus' commandments are clear: to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, to love God. So this is the difference, though, of my naive, innocent, young little love, which is I love God when I'm getting my way with God. Or I love God when things are going as I thought they ought to go. And when they don't, then I'm mad at God and frustrated and irritated and disappointed. So that's not what I mean here. To love God as it is, with all my heart, all my soul, and all my mind. And that is a direction to go in, not a thing itself, not a destination where we ever arrive and say, we've made it here. The second is love your neighbor as yourself. And I remember as a young kid, I was devoted to loving my neighbors, loving the neighbor. And for 40 some years, I often doubt loving myself. Even though I claimed I loved myself, it wasn't actually true. So it's also a remembering today as I prepared for this that the passage that passed that scripture reminds us that love is vertical and horizontal. Vertical and horizontal, connecting us to the divine and one another. And that it's both and. And love begins with our relationship with God, our relationship with the divine, and it cannot stop there. It must flow outward. It must be expressed. It must be lived into in our relationships, in our actions, in our choices, and our responses. And when we embrace this love as a calming action, it changes the way we respond to the world. So if I let love lead, for example, instead of my irritation lead, or my frustrations lead, or my disappointments lead, or my regrets lead, when love leads, I do very different things. I will speak in different tones. My facial and body languaging will be very different. Love also asks me to slow down, to listen deeply and patiently. Love requires then that I respond and take actions with compassion, compassionate action. It's not passive. It is alive, an active commitment to showing up as our highest self, even and especially in challenging circumstances. So, love as action, love as a verb, not a noun, but a thing. Not a thing, but a energy, love energy. You know, my boyfriend's Jesus and Richard Rohr. So I'm in a threesome with those. And Richard Rohr, I just quoted the teachings of Jesus. And Richard Rohr's quote that I prepared for this is one: love is the very meaning of creation. Love is the infinite outpouring of God into the finite. Love is the very meaning of creation, and love is the infinite outpouring of God into the finite. So love requires integrity, a congruence between who we are inside and how we express, who we are inside and how we act in the world, how we show up, how we respond, what we do in the world. When we are in alignment with this love, in alignment with this divine love, we become vessels for this outpouring. So integrity then means that our thoughts, words, actions reflect our innermost values. To be in integrity with myself means that my thoughts, words, actions reflect my innermost values. So when I'm not in integrity with myself, then I may be professing to believe X, Y, or Z, but not actually demonstrating that. I may claim to believe divine order and then be rallying against what's actually happening. So I'm incongruent, out of integrity to my soul, to myself. And while I'm on integrity, let me pull my bandwagon a minute and know that in the beginning of serving in ministry 25 years ago, I would get calls and people would say, I want to report so-and-so, they're out of integrity. And I remember being by that, like, we don't get to talk about other people's integrity. Their integrity belongs to them. My integrity is my responsibility. So it's out of integrity for me to say that somebody else is out of integrity, because I don't know a thing about what they value. I've not walked in their shoes. I've not lived their experiences. I've not lived their traumas, their disappointments, their losses. So no, I don't get to say what is integral for somebody else, or integrous behavior, or integrous posturing. So I've got to stay in integrity to myself. And to the degree that I do that, then I'll be clearer about what I need, what I want, what I will do, what I won't do. I'll be clearer with my boundaries, my limits. I'll also be then more able to extend love outward in ways that are authentic, solid ground, and true, not out of seeking, demanding, willful, stubborn, manipulating, controlling, seducing, charming, which is inauthentic, not true, and of course not sustainable over time. So the radiance of love, the light of love, comes from the very core of who we are. It is not dependent on external circumstances. It's not dependent on us getting our way. It's not dependent on it had to go as I planned. It is from the very core of who we are, not dependent on any external circumstances. So that's the light I'm speaking about today, and that our call season to nurture this light, to brighten our light, to water the plant of our own internal organism through our prayer time, through journaling, through reflection, contemplation, through acts of kindness, which you know very well about me, that I really, really get inspired and uplifted through extending acts of kindness and generosity and giving. And the more I do, the brighter it grows. And the more I do, the bigger it does, the more ideas I have, and the more inspiration I get to continue doing this, touch as many people as I can, and to serve as many people as I can in this body, in this physical plane, and in this time. And just recently, I support a school, a little rural school down in Kentucky in many ways. And you speak about it because another one of our congregants went together with me, violas and violins, particularly to this same little school. And I go and buy clothes and shoes and other things to stock their family resource center annually, and sometimes twice a year if they need that. And I was shopping for these things, and I was looking for bargains, and I only buy new things to go in there. And I found some things that were discounted and on clearance. And I was checking out with this buggy full of clothes and shoes and hoodies and things like that. And somebody that knew me came over to hug and say hi. And this cashier that was checking me out, I told him, I realized this is going to be a big order here. He's got a lot to check out with me. It was a lot of items. And he was so kind. And he said, that's fine. Just so you know, I want you to be real patient with me too, because this is only my second day. It's my first time to have a job, and it's my only my day at the job to really be out here. So just be patient with me. And I was so considerate of that, and how honored I was that he shared that with me so that I could slow down and brighten my light and get extra patient. And I asked him then to support me by making that all the tags were correct, that I had bought these on a clearance rack, and that I was taking them over to the school to source their resource center at this little rural school. And this young man started to cry right there at the checkout. And I said, whoa, what's going on, honey? He said, well, just so you know, the only items I got in school came from my school resource center. All my clothes, my shoes, even my underwears, my coats, everything was given to me out of that resource center because I didn't have a family to do that for me. So imagine my delight that the thoughts of my fulfillment, that what I was doing and what I was intending to put love out there for somebody to feel cared for, to have a new clothing item, to have a coat that they didn't have or new shoes, was fulfilled in meeting this young man at that counter that day that said how much having a school resource center and a stocked resource center had meant to him throughout his life. And here he was, all grown up in his own job, and in my presence of all the people in the world that could have been checking me out that day, could have been doing the checkout that day, not checking me out, doing checkout services, that it was him. So I call them God winks. God winks. So I also looked, and I shared this talk earlier in the year with somebody about, I asked, this came from an experiment that was done with 4 and 8-year-olds. Ask to describe what love is. And the question that was posed, what does love mean? And they asked kids 4 to 8 years old. And here's some of the answers. When my grandmother got arthritis, she couldn't bend over and paint her toenails. She couldn't do that anymore. So my grandfather does it for her all the time, even when his hands got arthritis too. That's love. Age 8. Age 4, Billy says, when someone loves you, the way they say your name is different. You just know that your name is safe in their mouth. Terry says, love is what makes you smile even when you're tired. Danny, age 7, says, love is when my mommy makes coffee for my daddy and she takes a sip before giving it to him to make sure that it tastes okay. Emily says, love is when you kiss all the time. Then when you get tired of kissing, you still want to be together and you just talk some. My mom and daddy are like that. By the way, they look gross when they kiss. Bobby, age 7, says, love is what's in the room with you at Christmas when you stop opening your presents and simply listen. Love is what's in the room with you at Christmas when you stop opening presents and just listen. Nikki, age 6, says, if you want to learn to love better, you can start with a friend. So love in action, the fulfillment of love, when we experience not only our spiritual calling to be love, but also the dying of our souls to be love. So love is part of our origin. Love is our origin and our destination. Love is the energy that connects us to God, to one another, to the world. And as we light the candles in these holy days, let us remember that each flame represents an attribute of the divine. Attributes of hope, peace, joy, love. And today, as we reflect on love, we recommit ourselves to living the embodiment of love. Love is the light of our soul. Love is our call to fulfill it, that we then boldly and purposefully, intently, grounded in integrity, guided by the divine, then go forth to radiate love. May your light shine brighter today as you remember and renew. May you have your path illuminated, and may you illuminate the paths of many and for others. And deep, deep thanks for illuminating my path. It's an honor to journey with you, healing for all beings, blessed and blessing. Namaste. marthacreek.com to contact me.